The horror of the crying mansion. I'm so dead curious, Blaine said, as we made our way to an abandoned mansion, known locally as the Crying Mansion. How does the mansion constantly emit the sounds of crying during the night? Every single night. I was there with Sylvie when we did the survey. It was 10 p.m., we were standing in front of the mansion's gate, and even from there we could hear clear, loud crying sounds coming from inside. Are you sure the mansion is abandoned? Timothy asked. 100%, Sylvie replied calmly, certainty evident in her voice. We asked round the neighborhood, Sylvie added. The owner was an eccentric man who lived in the 18th century. He had no family and, according to the neighbors, he was never seen leaving the house. How are they so sure? I mean, the guy lived in the 18th century. It's 2025 now, I said. It's become a sort of local urban legend passed down from generation to generation. Their grandparents told them about it. In fact, Blaine added, sounding as excited as ever, one of them even said, and I quote, "We don't care if you or anyone else is willing to break in and loot the mansion. Do it if you dare. Just don't blame us if anything happens to you," he even said. Sylvie added, her calm demeanor unshaken. One more thing. It was also said that the only time the owner was seen outside his house was when a delivery car came by to drop off a pack of frames used for paintings and photographic images. Interesting, I replied. Timothy, Blaine, Sylvie, Alex, and I are content creators who explore abandoned and haunted locations around the globe. We parked our van beside the mansion's tall stone wall. The place was almost fortress-like, with towering gates. No other houses were in sight. The nearest one was about a mile away. "Krista, do you hear it?" Timothy asked. "I do. Yeah, loud and clear." We weren't even inside the gate, and the sounds of crying were already horrifically loud and agonizing. It was almost as if hundreds of people were trapped inside, crying for a way out. Hundreds. Using his tools, Tim broke the gate seal, a seal no neighbor had ever dared to touch. The closer we got to the mansion's porch, the louder and more agonizing the crying became. This place has the most horrifying ambiance of all 125 places we visited combined, I murmured. Agreed, Sylvie said softly. When Tim was about to break the front door's lock, the door suddenly plicked open on its own. "This doesn't look good," I muttered under my breath. We stepped into the mansion's living room. It was pitch black. We couldn't see a thing. The crying, louder now, was more agonizing than anything we'd ever heard in our haunted explorations. We each strapped on headbands with cameras attached, ready to record everything. "You guys ready?" Tim asked. "Have we ever not been?" Alex replied. Almost in unison, we turned on our flashlights and scanned the room. As we tried to make sense of our surroundings, the mansion's lights flickered on. It went from complete darkness to blinding brightness in seconds. "Did anyone accidentally turn on the light?" I asked cautiously. No one answered. "It was the ghost, apparently," Alex joked uneasily. The room was filled with framed paintings, oil portraits of people of all ages, genders, and styles, each framed in ornate gold. The walls of the massive living room were completely covered with these paintings, every inch. "Not just the walls," Sylvie added, pointing upward. "Look at the ceiling." All of us turned our flashlights toward the ceiling. Just like the walls, it was covered in countless framed paintings. "Who on earth pins paintings to the ceiling?" Tim muttered. As I looked closer, I began to notice something strange about the crying sounds. They seemed to be coming from inside the paintings. I approached one of the paintings on the wall and studied it, then another and another. The crying truly came from within the canvases. "Krista, what is it?" Alex asked. "Don't you hear it? The crying. It's coming from within the paintings." We all began examining the portraits more closely. Holy crap, Blaine whispered. You're right. What are these? Sylvie murmured, her voice trembling. Room after room was the same, walls and ceilings smothered in frames, each one emitting cries of agony. Judging by the clothing, these people seemed to be from different eras. Some looked 18th century, others wore clothing from the 2020s. That doesn't make sense, I said. The owner lived in the 18th century. How are there portraits of modern people? Guys, is it just me, or does that look like a headband with a camera? The painting he pointed at showed a man in a modern hiking jacket, wearing a camera headband just like ours. We abort this mission and get out. Now, Timothy said. Nobody disagreed. We started back, but many canvases were blank, waiting. Krista! Tim! Sylvie's scream tore through the corridor. Two ghostly hands shot from a blank canvas, seized her, and dragged her inside. We pulled with all our strength, but the hands were impossibly strong. Sylvie vanished, her body turning into a painted image inside the frame. Run for your lives, Tim! We bolted toward the front door. Behind me, Alex screamed as ghostly hands yanked him into another canvas. Run, Tim shouted. We can't save anyone if we're pulled in too. Moments later, Blaine's cries echoed. I didn't dare look back. I sprinted past Tim. The exit was only meters away. Suddenly, icy hands burst from a canvas and clamped onto my arm. Shoot, I cried. Tim lunged, grabbed my free arm, and yanked with every ounce of strength. The spectral grip loosened just enough. Together, we broke free. We crashed through the mansion's front door and collapsed on the porch, gasping. Inside, the weeping grew louder, merging with the unmistakable voices of Sylvie, Alex, and Blaine. Weeks passed as Tim and I investigated, desperate to rescue our friends, but every lead ended in failure. Our final hope was the footage we'd taken. We posted it everywhere, begging for help. The video went viral. 237 million views in 2 weeks. One commenter finally answered. He revealed the mansion's owner was a blackmagic practitioner who siphoned life essence by trapping victims in enchanted canvases. The owner still lurks inside, tethered to his painted prisoners. Once captured, a soul cannot be freed. The commenter lost 7 friends the same way and urged us to let go. There was nothing we could do. Sylvie, Alex, and Blaine were gone. Tim and I ended our explorations forever. The horror of the crying mansion became our final video.